Hello everyone, my name is Ink, welcome to the Inkstorm. And today we are going to be talking once more about Love, Death and Robots, the Netflix animated compilation series which I and my special guest have a lot to say about.
So many things to say.
Say hello.
Hello, I am Ari, also known as Waffle Waffle, and I am here having feelings.
Feelings. So, yes, today we're going to be talking about The Witness, episode 3. And, yeah, trigger warnings. Many trigger warnings.
Let's see. Sexual violence. Violence in general. Lots of nudity. Sex. I don't know if just does the fact that the camera can't decide to focus on anything deserve a trigger warning? If you get headaches easily, be warned.
I mean, as I was watching it, the thought which came to my head in terms of the animation style, the choice of music a lot of the time, the choice of dialogue, the way that they did the entire thing, the word that came to mind was discordant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not. That's so. It's. I don't know what their intention was with that. You could say that was intentional, just the mixture of the style and the sound design, and the fact that, oh my god, do the voice lines not super match up with the actual like acting and the lips. But I don't know. I don't know if that was entirely intentional. Because we're not really looking at these from a let's do a bunch of in-depth research and find out what their vision for it was. Because I mean, I don't really speak for you, but I don't fucking care. What I care is what you put on the plate for me. And with this one, I have a lot of issues with what you put on the plate for me. Love, Death, and Robots.
For reference, we have not rehearsed this. We have, like, when we went into this series, we decided, because we decided to do it pretty much on a whim right after binging it, and because we live in different countries at the moment, we haven't had much chance to share our thoughts. So you're getting us pretty much unfiltered here.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't give a summary for 3 Robots last week because there wasn't really one to give.
Yeah, what summary? Like,
yeah, for this one, I will give like a brief one, just to give some context. Like, if you're watching this video, it's pretty much assumed that you have watched Love, Death and Robots, because otherwise this is going to make zero sense to you. But the whole premise of The Witness is essentially this weird sort of time loop where someone sees a murder and the murderer looks down at their victim, looks over and sees the person that they just killed running away from them. And apparently this is looping.
Yeah. Well, it loops and who dies flips.
Yeah, that's the twist. At the end, it's been reversed, and that's cue credits. And I said that I'd just let you off the leash, but I'll just say my brief thoughts on this because kind of came up with a different thing. Just as a very surface level analysis, that's an interesting setup. That is that feels like a sort of premise which a good sci-fi author could really get their teeth into. And I felt that the discordant styling did kind of fit with that. There was a sense of frantic confusion, which I felt like they conveyed quite well. But that didn't. I mean, to quote the review on quote one review which I saw just because something is an interesting experiment in filmmaking doesn't make it watchable.
Mm.
That's in a way that even that's kind of cruel. This episode is very visually interesting because
Yeah.
you had almost photorealistic people, like
Well,
even more so than Sunny's Edge, which had a slightly cartoony portrayal of the humans, just that slight caricaturization of human features, up against these very very minimalist backgrounds. And the visualized sound effects and everything just felt very very like certain graphic novel techniques which I've seen. Although I am not enough of an aficionado to put a label for that.
Interesting fact. Although, like, I have not really read much about what other people are saying at this point about Love, Death, and Robots. I initially, like, people were, like, raving about it, and I was like, oh, I should watch it at some point, and I watched it on a whim, kind of thing. But besides this, I liked it. That I didn't hear much, and I'm kind of trying to keep away from it until we're done talking about it like this, because I want my thoughts mostly to be my own, in this format. But one of the things, like, I ran into the concept art for Carnivore, and I also, although I didn't look into it too deeply, was apparently the design for the female character, the lead, I guess, is a rejected character design for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was a design for, oh shit, what was her name? Penny Parker, I think.
You mean
the one who came from like the future and had a robot.
Seen that.
Oh, that's right, you haven't.
No,
she's supposed to be a little girl in that, so
fair enough.
It's a little weird. But
so what? Wait, sorry. The which female design? The one in The Witness here?
Yeah, the one in The Witness.
Okay, because you kind of sprawled across two different episodes.
I did. I did a little. I'm sorry. Well, it doesn't help that they don't have names. Nobody in this one has a fucking name except for Vladimir. And we see Vladimir once and he's covered in sparkles and drunk on a bed. That's not helpful. The female protagonist of The Witness, I believe, was a rejected character design for Penny Parker. And I mean, the animation style does reflect that very heavily. If you really should watch the Into the Spider-Verse, actually. I think you'd really get a kick out of it.
I'm sure I'll at some point.
I have it. Anyway, doesn't matter. And I actually see this on kind of equal footing on how realistic it is with Sunny's Edge, but no, I mostly wanted to add in that weird little anecdote of like, hey, this is a character design of a character from a much better movie.
Yes, wow. But yeah, we're kind of skating around quite how unpleasant this episode was. I mean, I'm
kind of holding back to try to, because once I get into it, I will probably not be able to stop for a little while.
Yeah.
Try to let you get your thoughts out.
I mean, this, like I've not done much research either. But something I did note during my little bit of poking around for this series was that The Witness is one of 2 episodes which was written specifically for Love, Death, and Robots. Everything else was adapted from a story.
Oh, interesting.
Strange but true. Make that what you will.
Sure.
And the other is that, I mean, we talked in Sunny's Edge a bit about how Love, Death and Robots does lean quite heavily on titillation and sexual themes, just as an extra kick, I guess. And it does it with varying levels of tact. But this one, The Witness, is the most sexually explicit and the most pointlessly so.
I don't know about that. There is one episode where there were characters, you actually watch characters fuck, but
yeah, but that actually has a point within the storyline. That
kind of. Let's not talk about that episode right now.
No, that's we'll come to
sorry.
that one. That's one I think that's one I actually like. But yes, The Witness. Just go ahead, unload.
Oh my god. Okay. So this might take a minute because I was really iffy on this episode when we first watched it, the first time through, and now having rewatched it, I dislike it even more. Because there is, how would I put this? There is like sexual violence is a thing, but there's a lot of media that sexualizes violence. And that is really the point where it becomes not okay. Like, one of my favorite examples is Alien. Alien is like, I don't know how anybody could miss the theme of rape in Alien. They're like the alien even has like a big dick for a head. It is all over the place. But the difference is that it's not sexualized. None of it is sexualized, and it's not directed specifically at women. And it is a really good use of sexual violence without sexualizing it.
Yeah, I mean,
this is sexualized violence. This is hardcore sexualized violence.
And half the point in Alien is that the victim was a guy. I think that's half of why it is effective, because it twists the usual narrative.
Yeah. But this episode, fucking The Witness, is like, we spend a good minute or so of, how long was this episode?
It's 10 minutes. It's one of the mid-range ones.
Yeah.
It feels longer because
it really does. We spend a solid minute at least literally just watching what we think at the time is a murderer get pawed at and sexually aroused, and our main character basically give us a striptease. Like, it's gross. It's really gross. My lights just flickered. Are you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm still here.
Okay, sorry. I had a moment of like, oh shit, did my internet go out?
Yeah, we have occasional technical difficulties. I had to cut out a bunch of our first episode to fix them.
Yeah. But it's there. Like, why does especially and I don't want to necessarily. So there's a couple of things that I noticed that I don't necessarily have the most education on, but I can pick out as this might be problematic. Has anyone thought about this, like, at all? The main character is Asian. And I know that a lot of the setting that we see behind everyone is covered in... I actually don't know what the language is because I was not paying attention very closely, and I don't know any of them particularly.
I did see,
so I don't know if it was okay.
But I also think I saw some form of East Asian,
like, yeah, Chinese or Japanese, or I didn't notice any Korean necessarily, but I don't know these languages very well. But a lot of non-English.
Yeah.
However, everyone's speaking English, and the killer is a white dude, or what we think is the killer, whatever. and our protagonist is an Asian woman who is a sex worker, and we get to watch her fucking dance, quote unquote, striptease, sexy show on a stage. That's there's a really long problematic history of Asian women getting really creepily sexualized in the West. Can we also mention the fact that I think that the doorman, manager, whoever that person was, the person who greets her at the door and chides her for being late, and she always has some weird excuse and all this other shit, had a lot of really weird, like, kind of fucky trans stereotypes, which was also gross.
Yeah, that one made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. Fucking Jesus. And there's kind of, and again, with the whole wall fucking thing from Sunny's Edge, that I was like, I may be reading too much into this. But there is kind of a problem for me personally when we get to the end and she's standing over him dead. Or she's not dead, he's dead. She's standing over his dead body and she's like, oh, I'm safe. I'm finally safe. This was terrifying. Oh, thank fuck. She hears the noise. She looks over. She sees the dude. And it's like, yeah, this is a really interesting sci-fi premise, except that basically exonerates his actions in a lot of ways. Like, it kind of implies that she's about to do the same thing. This is like the at the start of the episode, the symbols that pop up. The first one is a snake eating its own tail. It's an Ouroboros.
Yeah.
So this is repetitive. So she's going to do the same thing, and he is completely justified in his actions of chasing her down and trying to catch her and whatever he was planning on doing to her that ended up in a fight. And we don't know what he was planning on doing because we don't hear any of that. We just hear him shouting, wait, and fucking wait, and, you know, stop, and no. We don't know what else he was planning on doing besides killing her.
Like, the charitable reading is that he was trying to get her to stop just so they could talk and work out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, that's nice. that's fan fiction is the problem.
Yeah, there's no information to go on with what any of the intentions here were.
Yeah. And it's one of those where it's like, okay, if she's a sex worker and of one variety or the other, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, she starts the episode mostly clothed, but she spends the last half of it basically naked, and we get so many shots of her. So many shots, especially of her chest. Holy shit. It is gross. I feel gross for having watched it a second time. This is a interesting premise, completely ruined by the actual execution, which is unfortunate because the animation's beautiful. The sound design, assuming it was intentional on being extremely discordant, was beautifully on theme. The colors were mostly interesting, although could have been better, but it's fine. It's fucking gorgeous. Except I can't give it any props. I really can't. Like, it's just gross. And it's one of those things of, I would love to see stories set in cyberpunk, set in sci-fi, because a lot of sci-fi and cyberpunk, well, cyberpunk specifically, deals with sex work and sex workers as characters and themes. I would love to see that explored in a way that, like, actually normalized sex work, advocated sex work, protected sex workers, you know, because this is not new. Sex workers getting attacked is not new. Them having dangerous lives is not new. This might as well not have been cyberpunk. This might as well have had nothing to do with the aesthetic. There's no point except for window dressing. And that's not a good use of your fucking setting. That's just, you wanted to see some tits and ass and had an interesting idea for a story. Like, I don't fucking care. I think this was the episode that made me step back and go, wow, if I wanted to watch porn, I'd just go fucking watch porn. I really hated this episode, and I really, really wish I didn't have to, because it didn't have to be this gross. But here it is.
Yeah, there's a reason why in the tweet announcing this video, I put that you are more than welcome to skip The Witness if you're watching Love, Death and Robots for the first time.
Yeah.
It has zero value of any kind, and you'll just be a happier individual if you don't see it. But if you're watching this particular video on YouTube, then presumably you have, and we're all very sorry.
And I'm not one to like try to police people about what they like and what they don't like. It's like I like some problematic things. I fucking do. I don't like to get on people's shit for liking problematic stuff. So if you do like this episode, that's fine. That's really fine. It's the only time that I'm going to police somebody about what they like is like if children are in danger. If children are in danger, then I don't care what the fuck you like. But otherwise, fine. Or like, I guess like massive racism is also kind of a big hot button no fuck you to me, but it's anyway.
That's going off into
yeah, it's I don't want to fucking put too many fucking qualifiers on it. Basically, fine. Like what you like as long as you're not a complete total shit of a person. But this, like, I feel like there is a lot of people who will look at something not set in present day or talking about it really explicitly, like this is, and not think about the shit like the sexualization of Asian women, the the really awful stereotypes of trans women, the fact, oh my god, and there's kind of a personal one for me of like, can you not bring BDSM into this, please? Like, we don't have much good representation, and we're just a hobby. Like, can you not?
We're still dealing with the fucking aftershocks of E.L. James.
Oh my Jesus Christ!
Please.
Fucking kill me. But it's like this stuff does matter, and it's like it's showing again. It's like, I think we mentioned this in Sunny's Edge. Is this shit does not exist in a vacuum. This shit does not exist in its own world. It's not good. I'm not going to say okay, but it's not good to just make stuff because you like something and not think about that. Like, I'm not really sure how many women were in the writing/directing of this episode specifically, but I'm going to guess that they didn't have a whole lot to say, or, weren't particularly aware.
Probably not.
And that is a problem. That's a real fucking problem right now. We have a Nazi Cheeto in chief in the fucking White House. Let me just put my politics out there real fast.
Yep.
But it's like, I can't talk about this shit without getting political. Like, media is political, period. You can't escape it. Everything is political in one way or another. Fucking climate change science is political. Like, science is political, period. And science is supposed to be about like harder truths, things that non-philosophical truths. You cannot escape it. Everything we do and are reflects on our world and on us.
Yeah.
And this reflects really badly on the people who made it, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not going to fucking necessarily hold the animators to the same degree of, dude, what the fuck, as, say, the director and the scriptwriter.
Who is the same person.
Okay, well then, he gets double trouble.
Yep, written by the director.
It's just... Oh, God. I'm sorry, I'm, like, starting to lose it. I'm just... Like, when I watched it through the first time, I was really uncomfortable, and when I watched it through the second time, I got angry. I'm going to be honest. Because I love I love sci-fi, I love cyberpunk. They're two of my favorite genres. Cyberpunk especially. Like, I like all genres. I don't really know a genre that I don't like. I'm sure there is one now that I think about it. Someone will come up with something and I'll be like, ew. But, you know, but cyberpunk is one of my favorites. It has a lot of shit in it that I really love, and unfortunately it also draws in a lot of, I don't know what to call them, but like try-hard, edgelord, cis het dudes, like in the worst way. Like my dad is my foster father is a cis male dude who is straight as the fucking day is long, and he's fine. But there are lots of dudes who are cis and who are great, but there is a stereotype and it exists for a reason.
Yeah,
and The Witness is why. Like, it's shit like this, and I hate it. It's like, oh my god, it's like going by. This feels like a condensed soup version of going back and watching the original Blade Runner. Because Blade Runner makes me feel like, I loved Blade Runner as a kid, but going back and watching it makes me feel gross now. Real fucking gross. Lots of sexualized violence. There is a surprising amount of kind of like gaslit sexual violence. It's gross. And it's really unfortunate. And this is like all the bad parts of that condensed down into 10 minutes. I think I'm done. For now.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm just,
all good.
Yeah. It's like purging a wound.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently the guy was actually visual consultant on Into the Spider-Verse. Among other things.
The director?
Yes.
Oh. Look at you doing research.
I'm special. I do all the things.
You're such a smart cookie. I'm not surprised. I knew that there was a connection there in the character design. But I'm not surprised they actually worked on it, kind of thing.
Yep. So, yeah, this episode wasn't fun. And there are a lot of episodes of Love, Death and Robots which are subpar. But this is the only one which I would actually say just is bad and actively brings the rest of the series down by its existence.
It's really unfortunate because visually speaking, it's in places, not all of it. Like going back slightly, the actual like visualness of it. The actual animation, like, I don't know how they did all of the stuff they did with it, because again, I haven't really researched this too much, and I'm not planning to, because I just want to take what's on the plate kind of thing. But I really liked it. It could have been, I think, a little more visually interesting in some ways, but literally just the physical space that they created And I think the reason that you felt so much that this felt more real than Sunny's Edge did, animation wise, is because it has the same feeling that rotoscope gives you.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic. I think that's very interesting. I think there's a lot of, technologically wise, animation wise, it's really good. It's really interesting. There's so much to like take from this, animation wise.
It's visually interesting. It has an intriguing premise, which you could do a lot of good stuff with, and it ended up being used as not just pornography with a bunch of ists thrown in, but bad faith pornography at that.
Bad faith pornography. I think they call that softcore.
Stuff things. Bottom line is this story didn't need any of the stuff that it ended up focusing on, and what it did was gross and misogynistic, racist, transphobic. Just add in all the stuff, and this wasn't good.
No. The fuck. I mean, it's like I had some issues with Sunny's Edge, but like Sunny's Edge is a goddamn masterpiece compared to The Witness.
Yeah.
Sunny's Edge belongs in the Louvre compared to The Witness, in my opinion.
Sunny's Edge is amazing despite its flaws. The Witness has nothing but flaws.
Yeah, sure. That works.
Yeah, that's the pithy way of putting it.
Sure.
Anyway,
yeah.
We came to the end of the 3 Robots review, and we're running out of things to say. In this particular case, I think we could keep ranting about this one for a while, but
I could, but what's the point? I've said pretty much what I feel about it. I think. I know I rambled a little bit, but
we're doing this unfiltered. Rambling comes with the territory.
I'm doing it angry because you know what I'm fucking like when I'm angry.
Oh yeah.
Can we just have some fun? Yeah, can I? You know what? I'm just gonna make cyberpunk sci-fi with as little possible isms as I possibly fucking can. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be full of the gays.
I mean, it's technically far future science fantasy rather than cyberpunk, but the best thing I've discovered for that lately has actually been Starfinder. But
free suggestion for all you tabletop fans out there. Do you know Pathfinder by Paizo? It's a pretty it's a decent system. I played one game in it. It was okay in my opinion. But Pathfinder has a spiritual successor called Starfinder, and it looks to be more like the bee's knees. So if you're a little tired of D&D, but you want some sci-fi, but you don't necessarily want to go find a completely brand new system that you're completely unfamiliar with, try Starfinder. It's a really specific set of circumstances, but there you go.
It's wonderful. And I could talk about it at length, but that's not really the point of this series. So
No, but it does feel good to suggest something good when you are faced with something this.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next time we'll be talking about Suits, which is it's dumb, but it's
not rude.
it's the fun kind of dumb. It'll be a lovely relief after this bullshit.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of episodes coming up that are much better. But...
Yep. So that's all to look forward to. So yes, hopefully you will join us then. I've been Ink.
I've been Ari.
Fare thee well.
Bye!